Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and we are back working on Dad's Daily. So in the last video, you saw we worked on getting those nice Stuart Warner gauges all mounted in the car. Off camera, Steve's been working on doing some of the wiring and getting things plumbed for those. And I decided I better get back on this car. My dad just got back from Florida for the summer, and he is bugging me a little bit. What's going on with my car? Why isn't it running? Or driving rather, and we need to get this thing at least together this summer so he can cruise it around a little bit. So one of the big things I've been putting off is doing the bumpers on this car. We had the trunk kind of full of parts, and I dug these out. I've had these sitting around for quite a while. These are 49 Plymouth rib bumpers, just kind of like the really common go-to custom bumper that people put on everything, it seemed like, in the 50s and 60s. So I grabbed a set of these somewhere in our travels that I've had laying around. I have a set of stock splash pans here that we got from our buddy Pete, and we're going to try and slice and dice and put the bumpers on the car. I'm going to try and suck them up closer to the car than they were from the factory, and at least get a set of bumpers mounted on this. This is going to clean the front end up quite a bit, because missing the splash pan, the front end looks a little funny, and also without the bumper it just looks a little odd. So we're going to work on getting these on the car in today's video, and hopefully we can get this thing looking just a little bit better by the end of the video. Looking pretty close there. There you go.
Done.
Done.
Done. Get to the porch.
Just like that. These bumpers look great on these cars.
It's nice how they're just a little narrower than the car. It makes the car look smaller.
Yeah.
Because these cars have some seriously fat fenders.
Yeah. I don't know if it's worth pulling it out a little bit so that... I think these were on a Ford already, because I feel like these been cut right here.
Oh yeah?
I think they're supposed to curve around a little more. And the edges are rusty, like somebody cut.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong. Alright, so we slid the bumper on. Yesterday we started working on this, and I was starting to slide the bumper on. I had blocks underneath, and what I quickly found out is this bumper is definitely was on an early Ford at some point in its life. It was just stroke of luck that we found these bumpers in our various travels. This one was on an early Ford. The bumper bracket slid right into the 47 frame rails. It was just like, boop, slid right in, really great. And then I started lining up the bolt holes, and there was the front holes were actually torched open and lined right up with the bumper bracket holes in the frame. Now the rear one I went and hooked up. It did line up as well, but I had to twist the bumper, tilt the bumper up a lot to get it to line up, and the bumper obviously is tilted up further than we need. So it may not have been on this body style car, but it was definitely on an early Ford. The other thing we noticed is it's been trimmed on the edges here, so that it doesn't wrap around quite as much. So that, like I said, it's kind of neat that this came off an old Ford, it's going back on one. So what I'm going to do is take the back bolt out of this bumper bracket, and we're going to set this with like a jack or whatever and get it set so that it looks good and it's sitting level. And then we can mark the bumper brackets, and really with them being spring steel, it's like almost impossible. You'll wreck your drill bits trying to drill it. So what we do, I'll probably just take the plasma cutter and knock a little hole in it, clean it up with a carbide burr, and then we should be able to slide the front one on, and it's gonna bolt on, which is really easy. So what we did also find is that by closing this gap up, we almost need very little of the splash pan in the front. We're gonna mainly be using the splash pan to tie the grill and the fenders and all that stuff back together. All this stuff's been off the car for so many years. It's all tweaked and out of shape, and it's going to need a lot of pulling and pushing and massaging to get all the holes to line up. But I think it will quickly start getting this front end so that it looks a little less like a sad cartoon character and more like a cool car. So I'm going to pull this off, get the holes burned in, and we'll keep working on the front bumper, and then we'll move around to the back. All right. Last time when Pete was here, I put it in like.
Right,
I see.
it almost fell on.
How that happened? It's like something with
It's in there.
It wasn't like that before.
Right.
No.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing
I don't know,
it.
maybe with me heating it, would I cut it?
Oh,
If it somehow,
tweaked a bit.
yeah,
Probably need to pull it. Oh, I just dropped it. There you go. There we go. Getting there. Have room to come over to this side. There, now it's up against the fender here. Look at that shit.
alright, so let's,
Hammer up.
it's about level. Probably somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Here's, the problem is on this side where it's double material,
Oh.
it goes, we're not even close there, so.
Okay, I see where you're at.
Boom! There we go. Just like that. My digital eye. It has to be like I had it.
Yep.
I had it in once. Yeah, so we got the front one on. You can see we put this pan I trimmed. It's a factory pan that's sitting behind there, so it all looks right. This piece of trim has to clip on. Pete gave us this trim and these pans, so we trimmed the pan down so it looks right. Obviously the car, we got to fix the front spring and get the car raised up a little bit. But I like it. The bumper it fits the car pretty well. I think it was already on a Ford. Somebody trimmed it a little bit to fit the car. So yeah, we're gonna. Pete gave us some more different pieces of trim and stuff like that that are in better shape. So once we get a little further, we'll pull the trim off and put a better set together on it. And the bump, the fenders and all the stuff were all out of shape for being off the car, so when we were putting this front pan on, it was fighting us because the fender was tweaked in from sitting around, and so we got everything kind of lining up now and together on it. And I don't know if you've even seen, well, you've seen the videos. Go real high, but everything in here is pretty much done. It charges, it cools, it starts up and runs pretty decent. Starting fresh. So it's going to basically, just going to figure out where it wants to sit. I'm guessing that's center. Yeah. Right there. That one. The exhaust is not exactly. Don't sit below. That exhaust is probably going to have to be modified. I bet they made the exhaust without having bumpers on it. This pipe could also just be pulled over maybe. So, the other thing is with the splash pan, it might put the bumper out here.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're just holding it tight up against. So probably what we need to do is, and that's what we did on the front end, it ended up working. We bolted the splash pan on the car, held the bumper up, and then we trimmed it back till it was at a good spot that looked right. So there's all these holes. I think he bonded over some of the holes, like this side you can see it's there. We may have to punch through the Bondo. Get it on that. There was one piece once. So right here, these holes line up. So we'll get some bolts, and we'll bolt this piece up. And we'll see where the bumper sits. We may like it, maybe we'll trim it down, I don't know. Just have to see where it sits with the other stuff, so. Bumper definitely needs some action with the press or something. Waffle at some point. Oh, so that hole hides the exhaust actually. So we're not, if we leave it there, curvature isn't great. Probably because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Question is, can we press that back out or not?
Block of wood on the outside and just hit in the middle.
Yeah, that would probably get it to go. Let's put a hand on there. That's nice because I can get in between the. I think it's helping. Doesn't look like it's dove in as much there. Right here looks like it needs more, but what to say?
Right up there in the top, it's still not.
Right here?
Yeah,
Oh, right there, yeah.
Right there it looks like.
Okay, I can. Definitely getting better. So we're gonna have both these corner pieces on. Like we found with the front fenders, these rear fenders are like pulled in and kind of a little out of shape. So we're gonna have to adjust everything to it. But we know that these are correct, so we're gonna work off of that. We set the front bumper on and it looked like what we're gonna do, because the radius isn't exactly the same on this splash pan as it is the bumper. We got most of the whoop out of the bumper, but the radius isn't quite right. So if we trim this centerpiece in a little bit, we can sink the bumper over top of this, and it kind of gives us a way to hide that unevenness, and it'll still look okay. We did that on the front and it seemed to work okay. So we're gonna bolt these together. Insert in the comments people yelling at me because I'm making my father work on his hands and knees. How dare you?
So they want to do it.
Is that how you treat your father? Or we have to trim that lip over, so
Sit where you want to put it.
I like it over top like that. So if we trim, it's touching in the center. So if we trim the center lip off, it'll allow us to push it in more and start overlapping there. Oh, we're actually hitting on the corner here.
I don't know if we're center.
Steve will be able to tell us. How's
we
that?
pretty
That's
centered
pretty
with that
centered,
bolt?
yeah, the center bolt hole's right underneath the,
Okay,
the
so
release.
if we let that tuck under. Yeah, so if we trim in from here to here, we'll trim that little lip off. That'll let it draw in more. I think we're gonna just trim that little lip off the whole way, actually, now looking at it, because it's gonna touch in the corners. And I'll draw it in a little more until we can get it, just the bumper to just start covering this. And I think it'll look pretty good then.
That is, the back end already looks better,
Yeah.
just holding it there.
All right, let's take that
Nice.
off. And I can probably, with the tin snips, I'll knock that lip off. I think you're looking for Phoenix weather or...
Right, San Diego.
Yeah, you're there. And I don't think your budget allows for living in those locations.
Yeah, well,
So you're gonna have to deal with Pennsylvania or Florida. I can't afford to put you in a home, so you're...
we were actually talking very seriously about moving back up
I know what you're saying.
in this area. Now, where we live in Florida, it's not.
How are you on? Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Are you nearby?
What's that?
Are you nearby, or
Yeah, so.
can you just center us up again?
Yep.
Sorry. Yeah. A couple eyes, we can get this trim to fit really quickly, I think. And I think you're pulled. Let it like that.
Gotta go towards Jim, just a hair. That looks right there.
Okay. So that's getting closer. If we trim the center bar a little bit more, we could pull it in further. And that would start getting us to where it's going to cover that pan there and match.
Nothing's gonna matter, you ain't gonna see it right now, even if there is a gap in there. About a 2-inch or 3-inch overhang.
Let's test this. Oh, there we go. That's looking pretty good. Got the hammer.
Yep.
Striker's actually working today. Hey. Are you filming?
Yeah. Red light is flashing.
Sure it's not a red rag on the ground?
Come on, I'm not George.
No. You jack up on the bumper.
More?
Right there. Only needed to go up a tiny bit, so we were only like tiny bit off when we were jacking the bumper.
do next week, Steve, without us? Another 3 days with no Matt?
I'm gonna be talking to myself about that.
Those are on.
Detent like the doors have.
All right, Dad, move your car. Get this thing out of here. Show you that.
Up in reverse, huh?
It's all, well, it's already in. It's in park. Just make sure you keep your foot on the brake just in case.
But sometimes it doesn't stay in park.
And then, hold on. You got. Nope. On the right-hand side of the column, there's a little up and down. Right-hand side of the column, under the dash. There's that little flick switch. Flick that on, and then there's a push button for the starter. Yep. There you go. You're good. Hey. You're good. Come on. Keep coming. Right back. Right back. You're good. Keep coming. Kind of sit up towards me. Just put that switch down. There you go.
That's right, there's no inside door handle.
Yeah, I know. We gotta. It's a whole thing still. Hey, you moved it.
Yeah.
I know it needs work, but you moved it.
I need mirrors. I can't turn my head around.
Well, I know. Give it time. You're not young and
Wow.
agile.
It's a little
It needs mirrors.
concerning when you can't see where you're going.
Oh, yeah.
Well, don't worry, because that back window you can't see shit out of anyways, because it's like the way it's raked.
Yeah.
You're looking at the sky.
I'm a trucker.
All right, so got the bumpers on, and Dad helped me with the back bumper, and you got your first move in the car for the first time. It needs mirrors, right?
I just can't turn my head around that far.
But at least it started for you. So now we got the bumpers on. You want this thing flat black, right? That's what everybody's been asking what we're doing.
I'd like to have it one color.
One
it
color.
doesn't matter what color it is, just so it's all one color.
Yeah, so we're gonna probably do some kind of flat black. I want to do some kind of like flames or scallops, but we will see what happens. But get it one color is the goal. Now that we got the bumpers on, the front spring on this thing sits way too well. We actually saw the main leaf is like flattened out, so we're gonna actually off camera somewhere in between other projects put a different front spring and get it sitting up a little higher. I don't know, the seat, how did that feel when sitting in it? Did it need to be
That was
moved
fine.
back a little bit, or is that all right?
I don't know, but it seemed fine.
Okay. So nice thing with this car is it's a little bigger to get in rather than some of my other cars, so you could slide in a little easier. And yeah, so now we're gonna work on just button up some more stuff on the car. We gotta get, trim and different things on the car. But now we have bumpers. Running boards are probably next, and then hopefully take it around the block pretty soon. So that'll be cool. So, but yeah, we're getting closer and closer to letting Dad drive this thing around this summer, which is ultimately the goal. So thank you guys for following along. Let me know what you think of the Plymouth bumpers that we put on the old Ford. Thanks, guys. See you later.